cherry tomatoes on sale for a very good price. So I thought for this load we are going to try something different with cherry tomatoes. Freeze-dried cherry tomatoes are really delicious, but I want to try something different. We are going to take the skin off of these and freeze dry them, see if they taste better without that tough little skin. So what I'm doing is taking my little steak knife and just on the bottom of the tomato I'm just putting an X. That's all. We'll put them in there. That is to aid in the skin removal once we blanch them. It only takes a second to put that little X in there. So I got tons of these to do, so I'll do this off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, that's 4 pounds of cherry tomatoes. Actually, they're called grape tomatoes. We'll stick with cherry tomatoes. And what I needed to clarify as I was doing this, so you got your stem end, the vine end. When I say cut the bottom, it's the opposite of the vine end that you're putting your little X in, like that. And that's that. 4 pounds. Didn't take that long. All right, let me get some ice in this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we got our tomatoes that I've put a little X on the end. I got a pot that's boiling with water. I got a bowl filled with ice and water to cool them down quickly because we don't want to cook them. And then I got this bowl here, which is when I put our skins in, and then my tray that we are going to put the peeled tomatoes in. Here's some of them on the tray that I did a couple days ago just to see how easy it was, and it's not that hard. So we're going to take some tomatoes and put them in the pot, and it literally takes about 30 seconds most for those skins to start coming loose. So we'll do that for 30 seconds or thereabouts. I ain't got my timer on me. Basically, I'm going to wait till that starts to bubble again. Take one out and see what it's like. Oh yeah, that's it. They are done. Alright, so let's scoop them out. Get them in the ice water. Literally 30 seconds or less. Alright, let's turn that off just to cut the noise out. You take your tomato out of your cold water that's cooled it down, give it a little squish. That one ain't cooled down enough. I just put that one in there. So you take your tomato, give it a little squish, and the skin just comes right off. That's all there is to it. And then put it on your tray. Some of them are giving me a hard time, and I notice that's the less ripe ones. the more yellow ones. All right. Let my fingers thaw out. Those were cold. Put that in there. I'll fire up and get that water boiling again. I'll do the rest of these off camera and I'll be right back. All right, if you stayed with me this far, I took lots of breaks in between because my fingers were frozen after taking those skins off. But I learned something. So, if you stayed with me this far, congratulations, and you get the pro tip. So, my pot's at a rolling boil. I'll go ahead and put my last batch of tomatoes in there. Now, what I learned is those tomatoes pretty much will float just like my grapes. And if you boil those long enough to start floating, oh my God. You boil those long enough to start floating to the top, then scoop them out, I find the skin comes off a lot easier. So, it might be a little bit longer than 30 seconds, but the skin comes off really easy, well, a lot easier. Some of them are still stubborn. Mostly if I didn't put that little slit in the bottom, if I didn't make it big enough, they don't want to pop out. But they'll start floating up to the top and that just makes it easier. So I just saw one peek up there. There's a couple. I'll let it go until I got a few to scoop out. All right. Looks like you got a few in there that I can get into my ice water. That's it. Let's move that out of the way. And just like the grapes, once these cool down enough, they'll drop back down. They're floating, some of them now. They'll drop back down on the bottom, and that means they've cooled off enough to take the skins off. Got one more stubborn one sticking up there at the top. There it goes. It went to the bottom. Now, another pro tip is the stem bottom, opposite end that you cut it, just grab it with your fingers and squeeze it like a zit. That don't sound very appetizing, does it? But that's what you do. And that just comes right off. And on your small slitted ones, see how I just squeeze that and it comes off? I just pinch it off the bottom where the stem was, or the vine. That's all there is to it. They just work perfectly. Now that one, I didn't cut a very big slit in it. So again, you still want to try and squeeze it like a spot, a zit, and it'll split that top part that you cut wider. Don't make as pretty as a tomato if you don't get it big enough, but still works. Here's another one. There's a stubborn one. You get him. And my last one. There you go. Spread those out a little bit. So there is 4 pounds of cherry tomatoes. What I'll do now is get those into the freezer, get them frozen solid. Once they're frozen solid, I will fire up my freeze dryer, freeze dry these, and next time you see them, they'll be coming out of the freeze dryer. Let's see if we'll see if the results are worth the effort. I'll see you then. Okay, here we go. 40 plus hours in the freeze dryer. Let's see how they come out. They kind of stuck together, but you can easily break them apart so far. Obviously with the tomatoes you get the sugary content kind of comes out of it. Hopefully these are going to taste really nice. And I'm tempted to dig in right now, but I really want to get these broken up so we can get these packed and out of the atmosphere. So I'll be right back. All right. They came apart very, very nicely. I got about 4 pouches here. So we're going to kind of split that up into 4. Let's see if I can get them in these 4 pouches because I got 4 spare O2 absorbers over there that I want to use. Alright, we got those 4 bags packed, and I'll put those in a jar and I'll snack on those. Alright, let that heat up. While that's heating up, let's eat a few of these and see what they taste like. Oh yeah. Those are delicious. They just dissolve in your mouth. Almost the exact same texture as a cheese puff ball. Oh yeah. So rich in the tomato flavor too. Oh yeah. Those are to die for. Now there's you a very healthy snack. And I kind of like them without that skin on there because it dissolves in your mouth with no leftover skin to chew on. Oh man. That sweet tomato flavor is just so intense. You guys have got to try this. This is a really, really good outcome. These are delicious. A little bit of work to them, but I think, judging from the texture of this, it's well worth the extra effort, in my opinion. Or you can just cut them in half and make them up, and you end up with a whole tomato this way. It's so rich. Better than any potato chip you ever had, let me tell you. You end up with that nice, just like my grapes come out when they're blanched, the whole tomato. You can rub your tongue on that and it just dissolves. Delicious. I'm super happy with that. Well, that's a real winner for me. I'm happy with that. Worth the effort to make a nice little, not potato chip snack that tastes better than any potato chip. So rich. All right. I'm going to wait for this to heat up. We'll throw a heat seal on there. I'll demonstrate. There it is right there. So we just stick that in there. Squeeze it. Look for that to melt along the edges. And that's good. Turn my furnace off. It sounds a bit annoying. You guys have to forgive my throat. I've got a cold coming, I think. Must be this Arctic snap we had. I mean, out there shoveling snow. There you go. Freeze-dried cherry tomatoes, although these were technically grape cherry tomatoes, without their skin, blanched, to die for. You guys are going to like this. I thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.